Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me again. I'm Mr. S with the Chess with Mr. S School, and this is 10-Minute Chess with Mr. S. Today we're going to explore the Danish gambit, continuing our gambit series with white sacrificing multiple pawns so he can get the attack against his opponent. This game was played many years ago by two club-level players, two of my former students, who had just learned the Danish gambit after a few lessons and decided to employ that in their games. Now, this is a lot of fun. This game has a lot of tricks and tactics, a lot of secret attacks, so I hope you guys enjoy and stay tuned for all the fun. Now let's check out the game. White starts with pawn e4, attacking the middle squares and opening the door for his bishop and queen. Black plays pawn e5 for the same reasons. White plays pawn d4, the center game, and black captures white's d-pawn. Here, white played pawn c3, the Danish gambit. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why not queen captures d4? It's not a bad idea, but if the queen captures on d4, black will move the knight to c6, attacking your queen and making it move more than once in the beginning of the game. Generally, that's not a good idea. Try moving out other pieces and then castling your king while attacking the center if you can. So, white decided to play pawn c3, the Danish gambit. Black accepted the gambit and captured. White to play, and instead of capturing back with the knight, which is also a playable move, white decides to play bishop c4, activating the bishop but allowing black to take a third pawn. Black couldn't help it. He said, "Yum, yum, yum. Should you allow this pawn to capture and make a queen?" I don't think so. Bishop takes b2. Now we've lost 3 pawns here as white, but we have 2 bishops that are razor sharp, attacking f7 and g7. Now black has lost 1 pawn only, and we've lost 3. But let's take a quick look. Black has moved his pawn once, that's the opening, twice, thrice, and thrice. He's moved his pawn 4 times. The one time it's okay. The second time it's okay because he's capturing a pawn. The third time it's getting a little bit much because he's moving the same piece so often. And the fourth time it's really too much because now white has this fast attack on g7 and f7. Now, before I continue with the Danish gambit lesson, let me remind you, this gambit is really cool to play against club-level players. If you were playing this against Magnus Carlsen, the top-rated player, the world champion, unfortunately, you're probably going to lose. He'll know how to defend this properly, and black is a little bit better because white has given up so much material. But if you play against a club-level player, say 1400 rated or so, you're going to have an easy time having at least a fun game. If you don't win, you'll at least have a brilliant game, a fun game, one that you'll enjoy. But chances are your opponent won't find the right ways to defend, so it makes for a really good game either way. Here it's black to play. Can you find the best move for black to continue developing a piece while attacking white? Did you find the best move for black in this position? Black played bishop b4, attacking the white king while activating a new piece. This is a great way to speed up your development if ever you've accepted gambits or anytime you find these opportunities in the game. Sometimes though, if you develop a bishop and say check, it's not the best idea since your opponent can block with a pawn. In this case, white can't, so bishop e4 is great. Now it's white to play. Moving the king is not a great idea since you can't castle your king later. Blocking with the queen, that's just terrible. It's like catching a ball with your face. It's gonna hurt. So the best move here is to block with your knight, either c3 or d2. Here, white played knight c3, blocking the attack against the king. Black to play and knight f6, activating his knight and making room for the king to castle. The knight is also threatening to capture on e4 since our knight on c3 is not really defending because there's a pin against the white king. White to play, and white played knight to d2, making way for his king to castle, but also developing and defending the knight on c3. Here it's black to play, and it's a critical moment. Can you find the best move now? So, how would you continue for black in this position? If you said, take the knight on f6 and capture the free pawn on e4, since the knight on c3 isn't really defending because there's a pin, you are a greedy goose. While it's normally a good idea to take free pawns, in this case you'll have moved your knight once to f6, another time to e4, and keep in mind you moved your pawn to e5, then d4, then c3, then b2. You're moving a lot of the same pieces in the opening, and that's not really what you want to do. Instead, you want to move your other pieces like your other rook, knight, bishop, queen, king, and especially your knights and bishops in the beginning of the game. Here, a far better move is castling or pawn d6. So let's put the knight back to f6. For example, if you castle in this position, you'll get king safety right away. That's good. Or another move would be pawn d6, which opens up the way for the bishop to come out to another square like maybe g4, pinning the knight. This way you'll have activated another piece and have gotten your army to become a little bit stronger. In the game, my student didn't play pawn d6 or castle. Instead, he was a greedy goose. Here, white to play, and white does castle the king, and black captures the knight. White to play and capture back with your knight, since the idea here is going to be to keep the razor-sharp bishops attacking f7 and g7. So white captures with the knight. Black to play, and black finally castles, and it's white to play. Find the best way now to continue your attack. Alright, let's say you're playing for white in this position. How would you best mobilize your pieces to attack your opponent's king? In the game, my student played knight d5, centralizing the knight and attacking the bishop. He's also attacking lots of squares around his opponent's territory. In the game, black has only one good way of defending the upcoming attack. But let's take a quick look and see what white is really threatening to do. In the game, white has a bishop on b2 attacking g7, but he also has a bishop on c4 attacking the f7 square through the knight. The knight is also centralized, which means he can attack so many different squares. And the queen is just one move away on g4 or h5 from entering the attack. Now, can you find the best way for black to stop the attack here? So, the best move for black in this position is queen h4. Activating the queen, attacking the bishop on c4, attacking the pawn on h2, but most importantly, defending g4 and defending h5 so the white queen can't get access. Otherwise, the queen can come and attack on either h5 or g4, attacking g7 or h7. So it's black to play, and did he make the move? Unfortunately not. He moved his bishop to c5, running away from the attack that the knight was presenting. So it's white to play, and now you guys should find the next best move for white. It is, of course, king h1. Kidding. The best move is queen g4, building an attack against the g7 square with the bishop and the queen now focused on g7. What's the best way for black to defend? Well, there aren't too many good ways left. Anything that black really does, he's in a lot of trouble. Let's take a look at the most common way to defend in this position. Alright, let's wrap up today's lesson, but before we do, let's see if there were any other ways that black could have maybe tried to stop this attack. Well, white has a knight on d5 attacking e7, attacking f6. He has a bishop through the knight attacking the king. That's like a see-through attack. The bishop on b2 is attacking the g7 square, and the queen is coming in as well. So it doesn't look like there's much you can do against this onslaught of attack. But let's say black said, "Take my queen, but not my king." Well, in this case, white would just continue with knight takes f6, checking the king. The pawn can't take because, of course, the queen is pinning the pawn, so the king has to move. Now all we need to do is free the bishop to attack the g7 square, and with the queen we can land on g7 and say mate. So move the knight out of the way. You can move to a lot of different places, but the best thing to do is just to go around the king, let him take you, and then say checkmate on g7. Excellent. Now let's say one more way. Let's say black plays pawn to g5 and said, "I'm defending the pawn on g5 with my queen." Well, in this case, I would jump my knight again to f6, attack the king. Now, if the queen takes, you'll take back with your bishop, and then you'll drop your queen on g5, attacking the king, and there's mate coming up everywhere. So, black moved g7, let's say, and white would play queen takes g5, check. The king has to move, and because the king is on h8 and underneath the dark squared bishop's diagonal, here we have a discovered check. By moving the knight out of the way, we'll discover the check with the bishop. So knight h5 or any other such place really, but h5 is a great square because we're defending the g7 square as well. So black plays, let's say, pawn f6 or queen f6, and the last move is queen g7 mate. Great. Now let's take a look and see what really happened in the game after pawn g6. All right, let's wrap up today's game with what really happened. Black played pawn g6, blocking the queen from attacking the g7 square. However, there's still plenty of dark squared weaknesses, and we just so happen to have a bishop on b2 attacking all the way through it. So it's white to play. How would you attack? White continued with knight f6, attacking the king on g8. Now the queen could capture, but then our bishop would capture back the queen, and it wouldn't take any time for us to find a checkmate with queen g5, queen h6, and queen g7 mate. So in the real game, after knight to f6 check, the king ran to h8. Now it's white to play, and the knight on f6 is attacking the h7 square. Can you find another way to bring in one of your pieces to attack? So queen h4, very good. The queen is attacking the h7 square. The knight is attacking the h7 square. The bishop is attacking through the knight and attacking the king. So mate is unstoppable here. Black said, I can stop it, pawn h5. White to play, how does the queen jump from here to here? Well, he can't jump, so he's going to go to g5 first and make his way to h6. What can black do to stop this? The only thing he can do is king g7, trying to stop the queen from coming to h6. So it's white to play now, and how would you continue? White played knight g4. Now the knight on g4 is unleashing the bishop, so we have a discovered check. And black to play, and he played just one more move here. King ran away. Can you find mate in one? The move is queen g6. And I'm not kidding. The pawn on f7 is pinned. There's no move left for black. The pawn cannot take because the bishop is checking. The king cannot go to h8 because of that dark squared power attack on this long diagonal. And the queen is checking the king. So the game is over. Is there anything else that black could have done? Maybe he could have pushed the pawn. But if he did that, white would play queen h6 checkmate because the king can't go to f7, the bishop is blocking. King can't go to g8, the bishop is blocking. And the queen is blocking off all remaining squares. The knight is defending the queen. All of our pieces are working together. What an amazing game, full of tactics and attack. And it all started with that Danish gambit. Now, I really hope you guys enjoyed today's lesson. Next week, we'll have another gambit as part of our gambit series. So please show your friends this game, share, like, and subscribe if you can. It really helps the channel out. I really do appreciate it, and I want to wish you all a wonderful rest of night. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye, everybody. Hey, everyone. Thanks again for watching today's video. If you liked the video, please share with your friends and family, and please remember to hit that like and subscribe button as it really helps the channel. Until next time, please remember to practice and have fun.